So today I thought I'd make a buyer's guide of sorts for iPhone 15 since I was comparing the regular and Pro phones, and while yes, on paper the Pros seemingly have tons of exciting features, but I don't think they're necessarily the better buy. Yes, after the very disappointing iPhone 14 last year, the regular models seem to have had a triumphant return, so let's break down the differences, and you might understand why the base 15 is the better buy. Beginning with the display, I think there's pretty minor differences here, and yes, I know I said minor, 120Hz and thinner bezels on the Pro does not make a massive difference. I know there's gonna be Android plebs in the comments shouting, "Oh my god, my Poco F1 from 5 years ago had 120Hz for under $300. Why hasn't Apple caught up yet?" Well, remember that Apple's shipping way more phones than Poco ever did, and so producing LTPO 120Hz panels on the scale Apple needs is a little difficult. And by the way, would like to remind you guys, like this video and subscribe for more content like this, it would be appreciated. Also, I'm gonna be frank guys, I don't care about 120Hz. Yes, it might be hard for some to understand this, but I'm a techie who does not care about the display being slightly smoother than normal. This is single-handedly the most overrated feature of the Pro phones, because while I do see the difference, it doesn't massively improve the iPhone experience in my opinion, and I can gladly use 60Hz devices like my MacBook Air for example alongside the iPhone and not see much of a difference. And heck, it seems regular consumers also agree with me, because no matter how hard the tech community tries to cancel Timothy for throwing in 60Hz panels on the regular phones once again, the regular models still are some of the best selling phones on the planet and beats all the $200 Android phones that have 120Hz. So yes guys, I don't care what you say in the comments, this is a non-issue. The same goes for the slightly thicker bezels the regular 15 has. I never really cared about bezel size in the first place, and let's just be grateful the notch is gone and we have the island across the range. I actually came across a comparison of the bezels on iPhone 14 Pro and 15 Pro, and this definitely is not as drastic as the leaks made it out to be, because I need to get out the binoculars to see any actual difference. Also remember that apart from 120Hz and slightly thinner bezels, everything else between these phones are exactly the same, including the incredible 2000 nits of brightness. That made a massive difference on the 14 Pro when outdoors, so I'm glad the regular models now have this. That's an actual useful feature for consumers. Oh, I actually just remembered this, but you also get the always on display on the Pros, but I'm gonna let you guys in on a secret. I actually stopped using the always on display on the 14 Pro a few weeks after release, especially when it does use up a lot of the battery life. I can live without this. Moving to the chassis, we have titanium and the action button on the Pros, and I will admit guys, titanium is a very nice material and gives the Pros that premium edge, but if all you care about is lightness, the regular models with the aluminium chassis are still the lightest phones Apple sells in the range, because they don't have massive oven stoves on the back. Also, while the action button is cool and the fact I can map it to do basically anything I want is pretty neat, I don't think this is a clean advantage for the Pro phones, because I'm sure there's going to be consumers who just want their trusty old regular mute switch, which of course the regular iPhone 15 has. Both do of course have the USB-C port, which I'm sure everyone's still celebrating about, but as rumoured, the 15 Pro does have the high USB 3 speeds, whereas the 15 has USB 2 speeds, which is on par with Lightning. Now yes, from the perspective of you techies watching this video, it seems like Apple's scamming us. How dare they do this? But like I said during the rumour cycle for these phones, most regular consumers are not going to care about this. I highly doubt most consumers ever use the ports to transfer data, they're only using this for charging, and there are no charging speed upgrades with the entire 15 series, so this does not matter guys, get over it. Moving on to bigger differences, we have A16 in iPhone 15, and the brand spanking new A17 Pro for the Pro consumers. And I'll be honest, once again, I don't care about the slightly better SoC. Now yes, it sounds like I'm hating on the Pro phones, but realistically, are you really going to be utilizing the GPU upgrades and the inclusion of ray tracing? I mean, it's cool I can play Death Stranding on the iPhone now, but I low-key wish there was more of a focus on the efficiency gains with 3nm instead. I'm sure most don't take mobile gaming that seriously that they want to play AAA games on a tiny 6.1-inch device, and the game I occasionally play on my phone is Subway Surf, which of course could run on a potato. So yes, if A17 Pro focused on battery upgrades, I would 100% see this as a major upgrade, but spoiler alert guys, battery life is exactly the same across the boards, and well, as someone with a 14 Pro Max, the battery life was definitely the biggest issue I had, and so I really wish A17 and it being 3nm focused on efficiency instead of performance. But hey, who knows, maybe there will be a slight difference in terms of real life usage, but as it stands right now guys, A17 Pro in my opinion is not a good enough reason to buy the 15 Pro over the cheaper 15. Now surely when it comes to cameras there should be bigger upgrades, right? Well yes, sort of. So the regular 15 does gain a new 48MP main sensor that surprisingly has a wider aperture than the main on the 15 Pro. That does make me think the rumors regarding the regular models only getting a new stack camera design were true after all, because yes, a sensor on the regular models lets in more light. That's a bit weird, but anyways, yeah, this is a new sensor and it's not the same one from the 14 Pro. Now, Apple did say the regular phones do have a smaller 48MP sensor compared to the Pros in terms of physical size, but considering there's still no macro support on the regular phones, I think this new smaller sensor might not have the focusing issues the 14 Pros had. Remember right now with the larger sensor on the 14 Pros, the focusing distance was not that great, and so the phone had to rely on the ultra-wide and macro support for any object really close to the device, with the iPhone 15 regular not supporting macro and also of course having a smaller sensor. Maybe that's not an issue with the regular phones, so in a way they have an upper hand over the Pros in this aspect. Because yes, as far as I can tell, the main sensor on 15 Pro is exactly the same as the 14 Pro, and at least for the regular size, you really have the same cameras as last year's phones. With the Pro Max, however, you do get the new 5x telephoto that has a new tetra prism design. That's a fancy word. And that gives you 25x digital zoom, which yes, is a pretty big upgrade, but I'll be honest, I was kinda expecting more. When we initially heard about the iPhone gaining the equivalent of a periscope lens, I was thinking that hey, Apple's gonna give us 10x, finally they're catching up with the competition, but that's not really the case. I guess Apple's gonna slowly work their way up with the zoom so that you have a reason to get the 16 Pro, the 17 Pro, 18 Pro, etc. Everything else though between the regular and Pro phones is exactly the same. You get Smart HDR5 on both iPhone 15 and 15 Pro. I'm really hoping this does fix the over-processed images we've had on iPhones for a few years. We also get next-gen portraits, which I can't lie, is probably the only camera feature I actually care about. Basically, the phone automatically collects the data needed for portraits, so that even if you did not take the photo in portrait mode, you can choose to apply a portrait effect after you've taken the photo, which is pretty cool, guys. You can also shoot off a hard drive on 15 Pro, and you get ProRes at 4K60, and you can also shoot in the Academy color encoding system, whatever that means. And yeah, once again guys, I don't think most care about this. I'm definitely not going to use any of these features. I've never touched ProRes, and I'm a techie, so yes, I'm very sure 99.9999999% of users are not going to use this. Now, Wi-Fi 6E on iPhone 15 Pro and only Wi-Fi 6 on iPhone 15 is a pretty key difference, since if you do have a router that supports the Wi-Fi 6E standard, you're going to see much better Wi-Fi speeds. And what's funny is that we've discussed so many differences between these phones, and this is the only thing that's somewhat crucial to note. Of course, I don't want to seem like an iPhone 15 Pro hater. This is just my take on the differences between the regular and Pro phones. And if there is something about the Pros you love, then by all means, go for it, guys. Don't listen to some guy on the interwebs. It's your money at the end of the day. However, I just have to be honest, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but I really feel the regular phones are actually the models to get. Last year, with how minor of an upgrade the 14 was, a lot of us instantly recommended the 14 Pros instead, but now the regular 15s have caught up in many ways with the island, the 48MP camera and more, so there's really not much you're missing out with the regular phones. Also remember, the great Timothy was gracious enough to give us price decreases in several countries this year, like here in the UK, the prices did actually drop a little across the boards. And so I can wholeheartedly recommend the base iPhone 15 at $800/pounds. And yeah, it's a really solid device, and it's the one I would get even as an enthusiast. The Plus, however, still remains in a bit of an iffy situation because it's only £100/dollars away from the Pro, so yes, I still think that's not going to sell very well. But anyways, unless you absolutely want a ginormous slab of a device, stick to the regular 15, and that's really the best value in the range. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and thank you for watching.